Well, a football game was played, Derek. The San Francisco 49ers beat the Carolina Panthers 20-9 in a game. Started out wacky as hell and then just sort of fizzled to a very predictable conclusion. And if I may, I want to start with the Panthers side of that because let me get out in front of this and say I have no ill will toward the 49ers. I admire them very much. I picked them in our preseason wins pool, so it's a good thing for me when they win a game. But I entered this game with a lot of hope and trepidation about what we might see from the Carolina Panthers. And like after that amazing game from Bryce Young against Atlanta, you wanted to see some sort of continuation of that, some sort of evidence that this could maintain and Bryce Young could put his best foot forward on a national stage. Teteroa McMillan maybe could win people over in the rookie of the year conversation. And we joked about it all week, dude. Like the bad version of this that we had a feeling was coming, it was basically that.
Speaking of the Falcons, that's who I'm most baffled with after this performance. The Falcons giving up 450 yards of passing to this passing offense when a Niners team that has barely half of their week one starters in the lineup, and even all the young guys they do have starting are young guys. It's like Renardo Green, Upton Stout, Malik Mustafa, and these are good young players, but they're young players at the end of the day. And this, I think the sack that Clelin Ferrell had in the fourth quarter of this game was the first Niners sack in 2 weeks. So this is a team that can't rush the passer, has a bunch of young DBs, does not have the all-world linebacker in the middle of it, and this Panthers team, for whatever reason, was bashing their head against the let's throw the ball wall, which made no sense given the way that they've built this team and what they've been good at in games that they've won. It was just a bizarre, perplexing performance from them.
I really felt like Dave Canales galaxy brained himself on national TV tonight, where there was a game plan that made a hell of a lot of sense of just giving the 49ers a steady dose of Rico Dowdle with some Chuba Hubbard mixed in. And they got to a little bit of that. They had a really nice draw call early in the game that got them into a fourth and manageable where I was like, yeah, I can work with this. And then ironically, they punt after that. And at the end of the game, you look up and Rico Dowdle finishes with 6 carries. And I'm kind of baffled by that based on what this game might have looked like. I mean, the 49ers came into this game 29th in defensive rushing success rate. This is a group that you can get. And I know it's worth mentioning Chandler Zavala went out early in this game, but with what we've seen from the Panthers running game, I don't think that's enough to completely stop you from trying, but that's pretty much what happened.
No, they've had good teams or good games against bad rushing offenses with a bunch of backup linemen earlier this season. They've done it for a lot of this year. And I think what was baffling to me is there are some games where even if you're a run heavy team, maybe sometimes you feel like you're playing against a team that is going to run up the score on you. So you got to chase them a little bit. And I get that. With the way that Brock Purdy was playing, why did you feel that way as the Panthers? Brock Purdy was giving you the ball time and time again. Why did you feel as the Panthers that you had to keep throwing the ball? Maybe they thought because the Niners couldn't rush the passer that they would find more open lanes and Bryce Young would have time. I don't know, but I would much rather have ran the ball down the throat of a Niners defense that really has not shown the ability to stop anyone, especially without their 2 best players in the lineup.
Carolina went into halftime with 3 points, and that was after 3 takeaways. Like I said, this game started in wacky fashion. Brock Purdy could not stop throwing interceptions. I definitely want to get to that side of it, but you go to halftime with 3 points, and Bryce Young never looked comfortable. It's a lot of checkdowns. It's a lot of inability to target the middle of the field. Dave Canales also called a ton of boot and rollout stuff where you're not even letting Bryce Young hang in the pocket. And it's easy to say oh, well, they're trying to mitigate the pass rush. He didn't have any time. San Francisco pressured Bryce 1 time in the first half of this game. And it's a continuation of a theme we've talked about all year where I just watch Bryce Young in this offense and I'm like, man, if we can't do it consistently in these circumstances, how much better is it going to get? And it is wild that that's happening 1 week after he blew up for 450 against a good defense. It's crazy the way that all of that just disappeared in 8 days time.
It completely disappeared. And like, I don't think Bryce Young played well this game, but I will give him like some degree of grace in the fact that I was really disappointed with Teterow and McMillan for most of this game. That was the one time the Panthers get on an island. He plays his worst game of football, basically. I know he ends up having the touchdown and a couple of decent plays later on, and then the pick that Bryce Young was trying to throw to him over the middle, that's clearly a defensive holding call that they just like did not give him. And so he was fine as the game went on, but for him to have like 2 critical drops early on, I was like, "Oh, you're breaking my heart here."
I mean, for us talking about him being potentially rookie of the year, I don't know if he was fine. I mean, yeah, that's 2 big drops in the early going of this game when the outcome is still in doubt and you can get some positive stuff going while the 49ers offense is trying to figure itself out. Xavier Legette with a baffling illegal touching penalty when he just loses track of where he is on the sideline on what would have been a first down while the Panthers are trying to come back in the second half. I mean, we've known for a while that the pass catchers, even with as great as Teterow has been, and even, I mean, this was a bad night, feels like the type of thing that's going to sink your chances of winning rookie of the year when you just don't have that many opportunities in a national spotlight. He's good. The rest of this clearly needs some work. I think it's fair to point out that that's not all on Bryce Young.
Yeah, it's not. And like, even for, I think this is actually the other element of why it's very frustrating that they kept throwing the ball, is that I think you can sometimes get away with being dropping back a lot if you think that you can check down to your running back and he's going to give you something. And these running backs are good, but they're not really like big time pass catchers to me. Like, it's not like they have a Christian McCaffrey type of back where you just feel like that guy is going to be automatic. And so it was just frustrating that they did not lean into what has clearly been their offensive identity. And other than when they've played the Falcons, this team has won games because they run the ball and they get a decent day out of their defense, a defense that has been some weeks decent, some weeks bad, but at least like this was a game where the defense played really well. Like, JC Horn was out of his mind. Like the first, I know that we'll talk about like the Brock Purdy of all of it later, but JC Horn driving on that ball on the first interception was just like, there's not a lot of corners who have that, like, as soon as they cut and go and cut across the field, have that kind of speed. Like, that was awesome.
Both of his interceptions. Yeah, if you're a Panthers fan looking for a silver lining tonight, JC Horn gets a moment in the spotlight. He's, I mean, having an incredible season, and he plays an incredible, at least first half of the game. I mean, he exits the game, unfortunately. Just an incredible night for him. And with all the, I mean, the Carolina defense lost several guys as the game went along. I mean, you lose A'Shawn Robinson, you lost JC Horn, you lose Corey Thornton as the game's going on. Claudin Cherilus also goes down. So you got a mass unit on the back end. And I thought they played with a lot of heart considering what they didn't have and the game plan that San Francisco was leaning into. But yeah, dude, JC Horn, the first one, and even on the second one, they like motioned DeMarcus Robinson away from him. So he's hanging out by himself. And it looked, it was like two goes and like a dig to Ricky Pearsall over the middle of the field. JC Horn must have covered 18 yards of grass to get in position to pick that ball off. And in not a lot of time either. Like, the athleticism and the instincts to realize where the ball was going and get there was so cool.
Yeah, that dude was moving. He's had a great season, which that's always like, I think corners, there's a lot of positions where once you pay them, you start to get scared about what's going to happen. And I think with corner being such a volatile position, that's an easy one to get scared at. But like, ever since they've paid him, he's been just absolutely lights out.
It sucks. It comes on a night, ironically, where he gets hurt, because the only criticism of Horn is his ability to stay on the field. And so hopefully it's not a terribly serious injury, because like I said, that's one silver lining, is that JC Horn belongs on a short list of top cornerbacks in the NFL. And I don't know how many people had seen a lot of his game this year prior to tonight.
Yeah, one more Panthers DB to talk about. At the end of the game, did we realize that Trevin Merrick punched Juwan Jennings in the crotch, and then Juwan Jennings, rightfully so, tried to fight him at the end of the game?
It's always funny, like when these games end, I'm texting you like, hey, okay, what time are we going to go? I'm like double checking my notes. I got to come in here and fire up my lights and get everything situated. And I was like, packing up my stuff to move into my office, and all of that was going on. And I heard somebody on the TV say like, "Oh, he punched him." And I double checked. I was like, I don't have time to figure out what's going on, but that sounds bad. So he punched him in the groin?
Like very obviously punched him straight in the groin. Like you can see him gearing up and thinking about doing this and just punches him straight there. And so I didn't even see that in the moment. I saw after the game, like when everyone's shaking hands and all doing all that stuff, it just cuts to Juwan Jennings like clearly being ripped away from a situation by a coach. And I'm like, this just ridiculous situation for this game to end.
Certainly not condoning it, but like it's got to be it's a terribly frustrating night for the Panthers. I mean, we laid it out on the preview show. This was their, I looked it up today. This was their third primetime game, not counting Thursday because everybody plays on Thursday, but like Sunday, Monday night, this was their first primetime game since 2023 and only their third since Cam Newton was their franchise quarterback. Like, Carolina does not get a ton of opportunities like this. And to play just a very lackluster game like this, I'm sure it was very frustrating for everybody involved.
I didn't realize it's been that long. I mean, Cam was last their quarterback in what, 2019? 20 maybe? I mean, other than like he returned for
we're not talking about
talking
about the reunion stint.
That doesn't count.
They played on Monday night when Bryce was a rookie. And then before that, it was like 2019 or something like that. Like it just has not happened very often. And so this was a showcase game and a chance to be in the lead in the NFC South, by the way, which the Bucs remain in first after this loss. So that looks like it's going to be a slop fight all the way to the end.
Absolutely. All right. Is it time to talk about the other team here? The one that, all right,
let's talk about the team that actually won the game and is now against all odds sitting at 8-4. And unfortunately for the 49ers, 8-4 is still only good enough for third in the NFC West.
And this is a game where I feel bad about both teams. Even the team that won the game, I feel bad about. Obviously, them getting wins and staying in the wild card hunt and the playoffs is really nice for them. But it is so obvious that Brock Purdy is not healthy. Like it could like he's always been a guy where his arm strength has kind of been hovering on the threshold of what is acceptable in the NFL. And so he needs to be healthy to be able to drive the ball. He clearly, because of the turf toe and also just missing most of the season, so even practice time, he just hasn't been able to like acclimate back to NFL speed. He clearly could not drive the ball in this game. And so some of the incompletions and interceptions are maybe like, oh, he's a tick late, or maybe it's just a bad read. But sometimes you can make up for that a little bit if you can at least spin the ball. But in this case, like it was clear that guys were able to catch up to everything that he was throwing. And then the other thing, and I noted this last week, he's just not scrambling and moving in the way that we ascribed to Brock Purdy. Like the whole thing with when he took over for Jimmy was like, hey, sometimes he can do shit outside of the pocket, and he's just not doing shit outside of the pocket. And so if we're going to have those two factors where a guy who needs to be an athlete and needs to get the most out of what arm he has can't be an athlete and can't get the most out of what arm he has, we're left with a situation where Kyle goes into the second half and says, that guy's not throwing the football.
Which I looked it up, by the way, because we brought it up before we went live. Brock did not throw a ball more than 9 yards downfield in the second half of this game, which, I mean, if you watched it, that was pretty obvious. And I think it's very funny. Kudos to Lisa Salters. Just like no BS at the halftime interview. Just walked right up to Kyle Shanahan and was like, what's the deal with Brock? What's going on? 3 interceptions? Like, that ain't right. And Kyle Shanahan, he stood up for his guy and he was like, there's nothing wrong. Like, maybe one was a little bit late, but the ball, maybe it was a little bit late, but the ball's going where it's supposed to. We trust our guy. He'll make the plays in the second half. And then he did not make a throw longer than 9 yards in the second half. So I don't know. It kind of felt like the 49ers were like, hey, we don't need a whole lot of points to win this game. Let's stop with the stupid stuff.
Right. They did it. And that was also my other frustration with Brock Purdy is I was like, they were moving the ball well when they were just handing it to McCaffrey or checking it down to him. Like, why did we feel the need? Like the Pearsall one where he just like steps up late and like just chucks it to him. I'm like, why do we feel the need to do, like just plays like that? I was very frustrated by with him. And so I think that there was that element of it. I want to be clear too. I do not think this has to be a like, should the Niners have paid Brock Purdy and they're going to throw all their whole franchise in a loop? None of that stuff. Like he might be completely fine by next year. I think it's just very clear that right now he is still not healthy and that like Mac Jones even with some of his limitations, probably does give them a better chance, or at least a more consistent offense than whatever we were getting out of Brock Purdy today.
It's funny because like that's the line on Purdy versus Mac Jones is like Brock. Maybe he doesn't have the same caliber arm, but like the ability to freelance and extend and make plays with his feet. And yeah, you're just not seeing that. And even more so than that, when he tries, it's not working out for him. Like the one that stands out to me, because we just said JC Horn is just a special player, and maybe those balls weren't great. And the first one clearly did not have as much zip on it as you would prefer. But I still think it's a great play by a cornerback to undercut that and get there and come down with it. The one in the end zone that Mike Jackson intercepted was the most egregious to me because Troy Aikman highlighted it on the broadcast. You got George Kittle on an angle route with good separation right in front of you. Like he's breaking up to the line of scrimmage. George Kittle breaks wide ass open. He's gonna, I mean, it's what? It was 3rd and 6. He's definitely going to get the first down. It's probably going to be an explosive. And you bypass that to zip it into the end zone, knowing that your arm strength is a little bit compromised, and it gets picked off. It was the ultimate too much dip on your chip throw.
Exactly. And like even last week, I know Brock Purdy's numbers were good, but to the point that both of us are making, like it was good because he was throwing to McCaffrey a lot, and Kyle did a really good job of getting George Kittle open underneath. And there were a couple 1 or 2 chances where Juwan Jennings is near the stick somewhere. I'm going to throw it to him. And even in this game, the receiving touchdown that Juwan Jennings he throws it to him like 4 yards short of the goal line, which that was a good play and a good throw. And then Juwan Jennings just like bullies 3 Panthers defenders, shakes them all off like schoolyard style, and then gets into the end zones. And so that was kind of the point, is it's like, if we just get Christian McCaffrey, George Kittle, Juwan Jennings their chances, they're probably going to make enough plays for you that you can move the ball consistently against this Panthers defense.
And that's exactly what they did in the second half. I mean, it was so much stuff to the flat. It was attacking the edges of the Carolina defense, and it felt like the 49ers had the ball for 20 or for like 2/3 of the time in the second half of this game, which maybe that's all you needed to do from the get-go.
This is I really think it is, which I think I'm of 2 minds about. Like I do think that the offense should be that simple. We're also getting to like Kyle Shanahan is blood sacrificing Christian McCaffrey at this point, which I totally get. He's their mode to move the offense, but Christian McCaffrey having 31 touches in this game is like, it's kind of a miracle he can do that to any degree, given his recent injury history as recently as last season, and given that he's not a younger running back. Like he's a guy who's been doing this for like 9 years now. It's just kind of amazing that he can still take this kind of workload.
McCaffrey's like, stop saying I have injury problems. I'm touching the ball 25 plus times per game.
Anybody would.
That is the ultimate dilemma, and it's why we have these conversations about running back value, where it's like, how can you put this workload on this guy, and he's not getting any younger, and you're going to wear out all the tread on his tires. And then the alternative is like, okay, well, do you want to be 8-4, or do you want to be struggling to stay at 500 because we don't have the horses to make it work any other way than just feeding one of the 5-6 best running backs in the NFL the football?
Exactly. He really is there, especially earlier in the season. Now, hopefully they can start to work in a little bit more Pearsall, a little bit more Juwan Jennings, Kittle. But when it was that stretch of like where Christian McCaffrey was the only guy, he was racking up the miles, and they're still trying to lean on him.
Let me ask you this, and I agree with you. I think it's silly and premature to do the whole quarterback controversy in the big picture with the 49ers. Like, you just paid Brock Purdy. I go back to week 1 before he got hurt. I thought he was doing some really fun, impressive stuff against a good Seattle defense. Like, I'm not worried about Brock Purdy in the macro. But if this is what you're getting, and we saw Mac Jones go 5-3, it sounds simple to say like, oh, we'll just put Mac back in until Brock Purdy is fully healthy. But I do think that comes with a lot of extra bullshit, unfortunately. Like, you're opening a big can of worms if the quarterback is technically healthy enough to play and he's not playing.
That's the thing. I think it does get complicated. Like, you paid this guy $50+ million. Like, if he is close enough to being healthy, he should probably play. I just kind of, like I was saying, the thing with Brock Purdy is I think when he's a guy who is not healthy and he's only at 80% of his physical tools, that puts him below the threshold for like what is good enough athletically and arm talent wise to survive at the position in a way that, like, I don't know, if Josh Allen's a little bit banged up, if Jordan Love is a little bit banged up, like, those guys have enough arm that they can live with being a little bit banged up. And I'm not sure Brock Purdy does. So on the one hand, it's like, okay, you paid him, probably got to get him out there. But this is also the NFL. You got to win games. And if you truly believe that Mac is your best chance to win games, which, if this is what Purdy is going to be, like what he's been over the last 2 weeks, then I probably do believe that Mac Jones does give them a better chance right now.
It just sucks because I wish I believed that it could purely be about football and just like, yeah, Mac gives us the best chance to win. It's nothing against Brock. He'll get healthy. We'll have him, maybe he can get healthier for the playoffs, or we'll just have him next year. But if you go away from a guy who's capable of playing and he's making 50 whatever million dollars, it just causes a lot of unnecessary noise, and you got to have a lot of unnecessary conversations about it.
At the same time, though, there might only be like 3 or 4 coaches in the league who have the cachet to get away with something like that, and Kyle Shanahan is probably one of them.
That's valid. I think I'd have to see it to believe it. Like I said, you heard how adamant he was to Lisa Salters at halftime of this game, where he wasn't rude or mean or anything, but he was basically like, what are you talking about? Like, Brock's fine. Like, he'll make the plays. He's made plays. And I mean, maybe when you have a chance to reassess, you could come to a different conclusion, but I think I'd have to see it to believe it. Especially, by the way, that is the 49ers are such a weird team, man. They are 8-4. They have so many winnable games left on their schedule. I mean, their next 2 are against the Browns and Titans. So you could probably play games just like this and get to 10-4, and you would still maybe not be leading the division, though, because of the LA Rams and potentially the Seattle Seahawks. So you're going to have a great record. You have the talent to handle business against a lot of teams in the NFL. Your defense is beat to shit, which sort of lowers the expectations of what people think you're capable of. And this fan base has seen you come within a whisker of winning the Super Bowl. So they know how it looks and feels when you have a team like that. So I'd love to talk to 49ers fans about where they are with this team. Like, how excited are you about this very beat up 49ers team rolling through a pretty bad schedule? Like, are you excited? Do you think that, hey, anybody's got a chance in a one-off tournament? Or are you kind of like, I don't know what this is, but like, I know what greatness looks like, and I'm not sure this Niners team is that.
It's probably not, but if as a Niners fan, you can just like be rational and think about the future for a second, I think scraping to like 9 wins, given how young the defense was going to be and how, we didn't know how healthy Christian McCaffrey was going to be this offseason and just some of the other parts on the offense. I think them getting to 9 wins with how young the team was, them clearly trying to retool, that would have been a win. The fact that they're almost there now without Fred Warner, without Nick Bosa, with the offense having most of their best players outside of Christian McCaffrey out for the season, or at least like large parts of the season, them already almost knocking on getting to 9 wins is like pretty awesome. And so if they can get a little bit healthier and Brock looks fine next year, like, ramp it back up. Like, this could be a team that is really, really good again. It's just probably not this year.
It's a tough place to be because, I mean, I was the one in the summer saying I'm not buying the noise. I believe in the Niners as a team that could win 12 plus games. And in a vacuum, I'm tempted to say, considering what they've lost, like not having Brock for half the year, not having Bosa, not having Warner, you got all these rookies. Upton Stout played a very fun game tonight, by the way. Like, there's so much reason to say, like, this is an unmitigated success. Are you kidding me? Like, you're playing with house money. But the problem is, and maybe I'm letting the past color my opinion too much. I don't want to speak for 49er fans, but you've come so close, like several times, and Warner's not getting any younger. Kittle's not getting any younger. McCaffrey's not getting any younger. And like, how healthy can you count on these guys to be? this isn't a team where it's easy to sell me on the idea of like, oh, you'll still have 2 more shots at this. I mean, that could be true, but I'm not as willing to just take that for granted as I would be with like a younger team.
I think that's fair. Like all their superstars, I mean, Trent Williams, even who we didn't mention in that, like that's a really good point. They are always knocking on the door of like, this could be the year that 3 of them just decide to stop being good or just get hurt again and stuff like that. So that is a little bit scary, but I think when you have a coach like Kyle Shanahan, I'm always willing to leave the door cracked a little bit.
For that reason too, I mean, it looks like they are going to be in the, I mean, what, hang on, I'll do this live. Like what's their like, what are their playoff odds now that they've won this game? It's gotta be really high.
At 8 wins and given the rest of their schedule, it's got to be like pretty. I would imagine they have a good chance.
They're at an 89% chance to make the playoffs, having won this game. And yeah, if they beat the Browns and the Titans, I mean, you're getting close to 100% with several weeks left in the season. So I don't know, man. I don't. The injuries on defense and the youth give me a lot of reason for pause, but you put a team with this much experience and that coaching staff in the playoffs in a one-off sort of scenario, maybe there's more cause for optimism there than I would give them credit for after a very ugly Monday night game.
I'm with you.
That's going to do it for the Monday night recap. Thanks for staying up with us. It's a different week with the Thanksgiving holiday coming up, but we still got plenty more content coming y'all's way. Dane and I will have Building the Beast out later this week. We'll have previews of pretty much everything happening. We're going to preview the Thanksgiving games, the Black Friday game, as well as a look at the Sunday slate after that. So it's a little bit of a different schedule, but we still got all the same content for you as always. Until then, for Derek, I am Dave. We appreciate it.